Hi guys, my name is Eunistes and you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. And in this video, as you can already tell from the title, we are going to be talking about the measures or the tips or the things that you have to know before you actually come for a gorilla trekking experience, specifically in Uganda. I don't know about Rwanda, but it's most probably the same things. So in case you've not watched my gorilla trekking vlog, please go back and check it out. Like right now I'm going to leave the link in the description box, but also you can just go to my videos and look for that video and watch it. I wanted to put all these tips in only one video, but realized that video was already long and I didn't want to make it any longer because I know some of you don't even love very long videos, so it wasn't as detailed. In fact, it was much about the experience than any tips. So please go back and watch that, and then this is going to help you to understand some of the things that are in that video because I didn't quite explain them so much. So that is what we are going to dive right into in this video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's do this. So it is actually about to start drizzling or raining or whatever. This is the rainforest. I'm still in Bundi, so anytime you expect either just a strong wind or rain. Yeah, so I think I just have to be quick anyway. So I wrote them down on a paper, so that's what I'm going to be looking at and telling you the first tip, talking about this being a rainforest, you have to carry rain gear, or if you can get how do they call them, waterproof, maybe jackets and pants and all that, that would be perfect. Because, well, in my experience, this was actually my second time gorilla trekking, but the first time it actually drizzled. It actually rained, not like that heavy rain, but it actually rained, and at that time I had no idea about the things that I had to carry, so it actually rained on us, and that even made the entire experience very hard. Yeah, so if there is a way you can carry, you just never know. You might think it is maybe in a dry season, which is never really that dry because it's always slippery in that forest. You might think it is dry and not carry those things, but anytime like I told you in the other video that my life update video about when I was saying is that I'm now staying in the rainforest, I told you don't let the sun fool you because it can still be it can still be shining and it will still rain. So if there's a way you can carry waterproof clothing, that would be perfect for you. Or you can just bring a raincoat. Most of the lodges in Buindi actually offer that at a price to their clients, at a price or free. I don't know how they do it, but Kiho I think does that for free, Kiho Gorilla Safari Lodge. But yeah, sometimes when you stay at a lodge, they actually provide for you some of that gear, so it depends. Yeah, and then that is for the clothing. And also for the clothing, if you can get long sleeve tops or shirts or whatever it is, that'd be perfect for you, especially for you my international people, because most of these insects and bugs and whatever in the forest, well, they bite us as well, but they don't irritate our skin as much as it does to you guys. So yeah, I would strongly recommend you to get long sleeved shirts or tops or whatever. You can change it at a certain point of the hike or of the trek because it gets very it could get very hot. I mean, you're walking for all that time, so your body kind of gets hot, so you might change it. So I think maybe if you have like a vest inside, you can move it for just a few minutes, and when your body temperature is normalized, then you can put back your shirt, but you just have to have it. Yeah, just for the insects and also for the weather, like we already talked about. If it doesn't rain, it will most definitely be very cold for you, so trust me, you need those long sleeved things. So on top of the things that you're planning, that you're going to pack for, that you're going to put together for this trip, make sure there is something long sleeved. Yeah. The second point is carry food and water. By food, I don't mean you you should carry like a whole buffet of food, but carry something simple that you're going to eat, because trust me, this is a very difficult exercise. I know that sounds obvious, but in your head you might think, okay, if we are leaving very early in the morning, and we can, this is something I could just do and then maybe pop back to the lodge where you're staying and eat something. But trust me, the more you walk, the more you hike, gets harder, and of course most of the food that you've taken as breakfast, you might think it is heavy breakfast and it will take you up to the end of the hike, but during the, sorry I keep calling it hike, but of course there are parts where you hike. If you watched my vlog, you know, so it has like highs and lows, so of course your body burns some of the food and you might get hungry. So carry something simple, maybe biscuits, maybe crisps, or, but I would strongly recommend yellow bananas, and they're in plenty around Buindi, or your lodge can also pack for you. Actually, almost all lodges do packed lunch for you, so you need that. I've seen clients who say no to that lunch and they feel like, okay, we'll be back by lunchtime, so that will be fine, but you just never know. Just carry it. Water is a must. I mean, we all know. For people who work out, you know, you need to hydrate. You need to, what your body is, you know, that it is a very difficult exercise, so you will need water. I can't even say you might need water. You will need water. And because you see, we keep, if you watch that vlog, we keep taking breaks, like during the trek. So those are like water breaks. It's both for you to take some water and also for you to catch your breath. So if you don't have water and you're panting and your body is tired, sort of, even if you're not tired, trust me, you will need water. So carry food and water. Also, the other things that you have to put in plan is that all the visitors are expected at the UA offices by 7 a.m. So how are you going to do that? In my experience, you need to arrive in Windy at least a day before the trekking or the trekking. Yeah, so do not sleep, let's say in Kabale, and then it's going to be hard for you to like make it to Windy on time. And trust me, I'll get to that point, but you know that money is not refundable if you miss out, because at 7 a.m. then they brief you just, you know, for a few minutes and then you set off. So if you stay in a lodge that is far from Windy, it will be hard for you to make it to the OA offices on time, and you might miss out on your chance. And I mean, like I said, the money is not refundable. So what are you going to do? You'll have to, you know, book afresh and pay afresh and all that. So in my experience, make sure you arrive in Bindi at least a day before the tracking. Please don't be like me. I slept in Bindi and I was also kind of late. But well, in my defense, it was about the transportation. It was a little bit harder for me to get, but I guess that's what happens when you're a solo traveler. When you try to do things your own way, then sometimes things don't go as quick or as easy as they're supposed to be. But just don't be like me. So I've talked about how how the money you've used to pay for your permit is non-refundable, and you might be thinking, what if something happens to me? What if, you know, what if I'm not feeling well? So in any case of any sort of illness, 50% of the money that you've used to pay for your permit is refunded. But of course that illness has to like be confirmed by the warden in charge. So about the money, the rates differ, of course, according to the visitor. There are 3 categories. There's the non-resident category, there is an East African resident category, and then there is a Ugandan citizen category. Those are 3 different categories. Yeah, and of course, now that we're talking about rates, that means you have to carry proof of your residence. Don't forget your national ID, don't forget your passport, because that's the only way they're going to be able to know which category you fall in. Yeah, and then, you know, they charge you the money that they are supposed to charge you. And also know that these permits are not interchangeable. This is another point. The gorilla checking permit is not a guarantee that gorillas will be viewed. And then minimum age limit for visiting gorillas is 15. So if you have your 12-year-old and you think you bring them and they will be allowed to view gorillas or do tracking, they're not going to be allowed. Yeah. And another one, permit includes park entrance for that particular tracking date. I think that is pretty self-explanatory. And another one, visitors are allowed to stay with the gorillas for only 1 tour. So I don't think because you've paid today and you've spent, you know, that 1 hour with the gorillas, then you can come back tomorrow just because you paid. It's not like a weekly thing or a monthly thing. It's only for 1 day. Purchase of a card will not will not hold Uganda Wildlife Authority liable for any loss, accident, damage, or any sustained injury in the park. Then create a workout routine or take regular walks a month to the tracking, especially if your fitness levels are low. So yeah, just do some simple, workout routines in your country before you come, or in your home if you're Ugandan or East African, and that will help you. Yeah. Because the exercise takes starting from 4 hours and above. That means you can even go for 7 or 8 hours, depending on how the gorillas have ventured out. So if it's your lucky day, you might see them after a very few hours. But what happens if you come and maybe that day they've ventured out, like they really went all the way out? How are you going to handle it? So create that simple workout routine, and it will make your experience easier. This is not going to scare. I'm not saying that to scare, because like I already said, you're given breaks. You take breaks. If you've seen that video, you stop at a certain point, you get to ask questions, your guide answers, you catch a breath, you take some water. So it's not like for all those 6 or 7 hours you're going to be doing the trek. No, I'm not here to scare you guys. I want you guys to come. Come see those gorillas, give us money. And then another thing, don't forget to carry a face mask, because you realize still in the vlog that we got to a point where we're told to put on our masks. That is when you're now closer to the gorillas. And normally there's always a group of trackers that go ahead of the team of people that are going to, to trek. Those are people that actually do tracking. I think that's where the difference between tracking and trekking comes in. Yeah, so they go ahead of the group, so that they are able to help you guys locate the gorillas faster. I mean, we want you guys to feel the trek, but again, we don't want to make it harder for you, to go all the way. So they find them, and then they keep in touch with the guide that you guys are going to go with. So they keep telling you, oh, they're here, oh, they're here, oh, you take this route, you find them here. Yeah, so when you get closer to the gorillas, then you're told to put on face masks. So the next point is waterproof hiking boots are essential. And yeah, we already talked about waterproof, but I think I only talked about it in the outfits. But the boots, guys, if you bring your sleighing shoes, and I said this in the video, if you bring your sleighing shoes, you are going to fall. And I'm not saying that because I'm also perfect. I fail just because there's no one recording me. So get really good hiking shoes and waterproof ones if you can get them, because you're going to be there's a point where you get to, there are logs on top and there is like water, so it sort of floods the place, so they put logs on top. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to step into water. There's mud, there's everything. The hiking boots are still going to get messy, but at least you won't get water in your feet. And if you've been in that situation, you know how how uncomfortable that could get. You don't want water in your shoes. That's the last thing you want, because you're already tired and you want to focus on other things. So if you can get hiking boots that are waterproof, good. If you can't get waterproof ones, at least let them be hiking boots, because it is steep, it is slippery. You might see leaves, but that doesn't mean it's leafy everywhere. There's mud, there's water, you're going to be falling all the time. So at least get nice shoes. And another thing, photography is permitted, but you must not use a flash. Yeah, because gorillas, they might want you around, but when you start using the flash, apparently they're scared of, that flash. They feel like, they are not safe or anything. Yeah, so. And then also at that point, when you get closer to them, these, what are they called? Trekking poles. When you get to a point where you put on the mask, you leave the trekking poles at that point, because again, you don't want to scare the animals away. I mean, we went through a period where we were facing a problem of people coming to poach them, killing them and all those things for all sort of reasons. And part of the things that they were using to hurt them were spears, they were what. So when you come close to them with a trekking pole, they feel insecure around you and they might run away, and they, you might not get a chance to be around them for a very long time. So you put on your mask and leave your trekking poles at a certain point, and then you access them. So you have to know that. Then you can pick the trekking poles after you're done with that. Another thing, porters are available to help you carry your day pack for a small charge. Especially my fellow content creators, you have a camera, you have a tripod, you have a phone, you have a drone, you have what? Yeah, so there's someone who will help you carry that very small charge. So I'm guessing I've given you the tips that you need to help you prepare in case this is something that you're planning to come and my lighting has changed. I don't know why, but I think let's work with that. The weather keeps changing. Now it is sunny again. Now I'm like very white, but I think we are going to work with that. I don't know. So I'm trying to not look very light because I look weird when I'm with that color, but I think this is better. It's about to change again. See, we're back to that, so I guess we're going to work with that. Yeah, so thick socks, a long sleeved top, sunscreen, sweat towel, because trust me, you're going to sweat. Then you need tissues and then sanitary bags. Of course, you might need a backpack because you cannot put all those things in like, you need to put all those things in like one bag so that it is easy for you to carry them. So you might need a backpack. The trekking poles you can borrow from the porters at the park, or sometimes your lodge provides them. So depending on where you're staying, you might have them. I'm at Kihogora Safari Lodge right now, and they actually have their own poles, so you can choose to go with those ones or get some from the park. Then of course a face mask. Yeah, so I guess that is all. In case you still have a question about gorilla trekking, I'll be so happy to answer your questions. Please ask me all those questions in the comment section. And again, in case there's any brand that wants to work with me, I'm still in Burundi. Please hit my DMs on Instagram, that is at Unistes, or you can comment in the comment section right here, and we'll see what to do. See you guys in my next video. Bye bye.